This is the working model of the human larynx. Working model because it is possible to demonstrate the movements of its components. This is the thyroid cartilage. This is the thyroid notch. This is the thyroid angle, causing the laryngeal prominence in the living. This is the lamina of the thyroid cartilage. This is the superior cornu. This is the inferior cornu. This is the free posterior border of the thyroid. This is the cricoid cartilage, below the thyroid cartilage. This is the arch of the cricoid. This is the lamina of the cricoid. The cricoid cartilage is thus a complete ring, as against the thyroid. This is the first tracheal ring. This is the epiglottis. Epiglottis is an elastic fibrocartilage, meaning this is a cartilage with both fibrous and elastic components, conferring both strength and elasticity. This is the arytenoid cartilage, which is pyramidal in shape. This is the apex. This is the lateral muscular process for the attachment of the muscles. This is the anterior vocal process for the attachment of vocal cords. The surfaces are posterior, medial, and anterolateral. This is the thyroepiglottic ligament attaching the thyroid cartilage to the epiglottis. This is the quadrangular membrane, and this is conus elasticus. The quadrangular membrane has a free upper border called aryepiglottic ligament, and when it is covered by the mucous membrane, it is called aryepiglottic fold. The lower free border is called the vestibular ligament, and when covered by the mucous membrane, it is called the vestibular fold. The upper free border of the conus elasticus is called the vocal ligament, and when covered by the mucous membrane, it is called vocal fold. The lower border of the conus elasticus is attached to the arytenoid, cricoid, and thyroid cartilages, and therefore is not free. The space between the vestibular folds is called the rima vestibuli, and the space between the vocal folds is called the rima glottidis or glottis. The glottis is divided into an anterior 3/5 called the intermembranous part between the vocal folds, and the posterior 2/5 called the intercartilaginous part between the vocal processes of the arytenoid cartilages. The space between the vestibular and the vocal folds is called the ventricle of larynx. the ventricle leads into the saccule of larynx, lateral to the quadrangular membrane. Now, the cavity of larynx. This is the inlet of larynx, bounded by the airy epiglottic folds on either side, the epiglottis anteriorly, and the apex of the arytenoid cartilages posteriorly. This is the vestibule of the larynx between the inlet and the vestibular folds. Below the vocal folds, the space is called infraglottic cavity or subglottis. Thus, the cavity of the larynx consists of the inlet, vestibule, rima vestibuli, the ventricle, rima glottidis, and subglottis. Now, coming to the muscles of larynx. This is the cricothyroid muscle attached to the cricoid and the thyroid cartilages. Its contraction leads to the forward bending of the thyroid cartilage, leading to the stretching of the vocal cords, causing the elongation of the cords, leading to an increase in the tension of the vocal cords. All this is necessary to increase the pitch of the voice. This is the lateral cricoarytenoid muscle. From the upper border of the cricoid arch to the muscular process. Contraction of this muscle causes a vertical rotation of the arytenoid cartilages, leading to the closure of the glottis. This is the posterior cricoarytenoid. From the posterior surface of the cricoid lamina to the muscular process. Contraction of these two muscles causes a rotation of the arytenoid in the opposite direction, leading to the opening of the glottis, increasing the size of the glottis to allow more air to enter, as happens when you are gasping for breath. Thus, it is an antagonist to the lateral cricoarytenoid. This is the airy epiglotticus muscle in the airy epiglottic fold, and when it contracts, closes the inlet of larynx, acting as a sphincter. The oblique arytenoids and the transverse arytenoids are not shown here.